Okay. Oda's a genius. This is the best manga I have read in my life, and this arc was the most perfect, well executed story building up and hyping up around amazing characters that I essentially had not heard of up to this point. Like, I've heard of them, but we didn't have anything really on them, and making me fall in love with them in like a panel or a line or a build up or just an emotional look. I fell in love with so many of these characters, and the fact that I don't have a Whitebeard's Pirates spin-off manga to go read is upsetting. I get we have a light novel for Ace that I will be reading eventually, but I need Whitebeard, the Whitebeard Pirates. I need all of that. It has the most climactic and cathartic moment I think I have probably read in my life. If not the most, then top two. I would not put that moment lower than top two on my list of just emotionally resolving cathartic scenes and moments. Oh my god. And then Oda, because he's Oda, decides to crush my heart and soul, and I am an absolute idiot who did not know what I was getting into. So this arc starts with the public execution of Ace being broadcasted on live television all across the world, and you have people petrified about the war that this is going to cause. They know Whitebeard's coming. They know that they're going to come to save Ace. So you have people like children singing nursery rhymes about the monster that is Whitebeard and how ferocious and powerful he is. You have people hiding and locking their doors, waiting for the war to come for them. You have then a couple people being like, "Oh, Whitebeard's old. He's washed up. He's not going to be a threat to the Navy," and they are very, very, very wrong. You have so Ace is up on the platform, and they're in this marineford where there's only one entrance kind of get to, and you got cannons pointing there, you got the warlords, you got everybody waiting for Whitebeard to show up. And I apologize for pronouncing names wrong. I have not watched many episodes of the anime, only enough just to have a good cry. But Sengoku is how I'm going to pronounce it. Is up there, and he's addressing the public of who Ace is. And it's very clear now what the military's plan was. Essentially, the reason they did not just execute Ace in the safety of Impel Down was because they wanted this spectacle. They wanted Whitebeard to show up. They wanted to show the public exactly how strong they are, that the biggest threat to the Navy is actually no threat. They're going to take him head on. They're going to win. They're going to show Ace's execution and Whitebeard's death. They have also laid a trap for all these pirates of the New World, knowing that they have the best bait in Ace to bring them all in, lure them into a trap, and just eliminate them all. They are confident they can handle this with the admirals and the warlords. And we start with a reveal that absolutely shook me. Sengoku reveals that Ace is actually the son of Gold Roger, or Gold D. Roger. And I did not see that coming for a second. I was mildly suspicious for an instant that Ace and Luffy had different fathers, because when Garp went to the prison, he had said, "Hey, I revealed to Luffy that his father is Dragon." And instead of saying, "Hey, I revealed to Luffy that your guys' father is Dragon," meaning both of them, he specified it was Luffy's father. But then I'm like, probably just worked in conversation because they both have D in the name, so it's not that likely that they would inherit that name D from two separate fathers. I thought maybe they had the same mother at first, two separate fathers. Will a D thing have them? Maybe they have the same father, different mothers. Who knows? Who knows? I was just going to roll with it. And then they just dropped this bomb that the not even protagonist of this series is the father, is the son of Goldie Roger, and what the actual hell. But not only was I completely wrong in thinking it was unreasonable that these two brothers, adopted but no less brothers, had got the Will D from two separate fathers, Ace actually has the Will D on both his sides. So his father is Gold Roger, and his mother is Portuguese Rouge, Rogue, something like that, from the south, blue. She's on my list. She's now in my conspiracy theory of what the hell the Will of D is. She's been added to it. So, the military had known that Gold Roger was having a son or a child. So, what is their response? Let's go track down this kid and eliminate the Roger bloodline. So, bloodline's a big deal. Am I still on my little theory train of blood magic and possibly reincarnations as it revolves around my theories related to past plot lines in both Vampire Diaries and Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes, I am. But anywho, they hunt him down, and I'm pretty sure they're executing any woman or child that had the possibility or suspicion of being Roger's kid and or girlfriend. Like, this child was born or will be born within a time frame that might make it possible for them to be Roger's kid, dead. So that happens. And the one moment that somehow breaks my immersion in this series and say that's not possible when we are in a world where cyborgs are powered by cola, specifically cola, Ace's mom says, to protect my child, I'm just not going to give birth. I'm going to hold him in. Through sheer willpower, she refuses to give birth. And from everything I know about the birth process, that is not allowed. When the baby wants to come, holding it in will kill you. But anywho, she's just like, I'm going to stay pregnant for 20 months. I'm not going to allow labor to start. And that results in her death from the sheer energy of having to hold him in. I would love for that to be explained through whatever kind of magic that happens. But Garp ends up taking the child because he had been told by Roger who his child was, and Roger had said, like, I trust you, I know you, you're not going to let the sins of the father be passed on to the child. And Garp honors that. He brings him to a foster care situation where he is raised with Luffy, and the two become brothers, and Garp's essentially like, this is my family now. I'm not crying this early on, I'm not doing it. But this is my family. He'll be raised, he'll be protected. Again, not letting the sins of the father be passed on to the son. And the world is shocked at this revelation. And with Luffy on the boat on the way to Marineford, he also casually drops this knowledge as if he knew this all this time, but was deemed insignificant information. It's like, yeah, he's Roger's kid. What's the big deal? He's my brother. That's why we're going to go save him. Back when Iva, had said, like, we're going to save Dragon's kid, he's just very casually, no, actually, he's Gold Roger's kid. No big deal. And just floors everybody. Ace is very adamant denying this. Like, Roger may be my blood, but he's not my father. Whitebeard is my father. And then Whitebeard shows up with all the captains, so many captains loyal to him, allies in the New World, and his own crew, just rolls on up to Marineford and is just like, where's my son? We're going home. And Ace is very adamant, like, this is my fault. It's my recklessness that got here. I got myself taken. Don't you guys put yourself in danger. Don't bleed for me. Don't die for me. Just go. This is my fault. And Whitebeard's just like, oh, my son, I gave you the order to go after Blackbeard. This is my fault. I've come to rescue you. You're coming home with us. And Ace is very adamant, no, you didn't. This is on me. You didn't give me that order. And we see in flashbacks that that's true, that Whitebeard is lying. Ace had went after Blackbeard because Blackbeard or Teach was under his supervision, under his division, killed a comrade, and in doing so insulted Blackbeard and insulted Whitebeard and Whitebeard's names in the honor of the pirates and him. And Ace wasn't having that. Ace will not tolerate someone insulting or hurting Whitebeard's reputation. I'm going to be saying Blackbeard and Whitebeard interchangeably a lot. I'll try to catch myself. And Whitebeard had specifically said, no, don't go after him. He has bad feeling about this. I don't want you going after him. Let this go. And Ace refused and went after him. And now in the present, Whitebeard's just like, nope, wasn't on you. That was my order. I got you in this mess, so I'm here to save you. Isn't that right, Marco? Turns to his commander of the 1st Division, and who was wonderful. And Marco's just standing there like, yep, heard it with my own ears, when he had very clearly heard the opposite. And the war has started. Now, Sweet, naive little Jessica here. Before reading this chapter, let me tell you how I thought this was going to go. I'm reading these panels. I'm seeing the three admirals, the most powerful men I have ever seen on page, followed by the warlords, who are absolutely terrifying, and then Whitebeard, who is the most powerful man alive, apparently, rolling up on here. All the cannons, all the navies, they have all these preparations, and I'm just thinking, God, Luffy's got a lot of stuff to get through in order to save Ace and get him to safety. I'm also thinking, along with the Navy, that the plan was for Whitebeard to raise Ace as preparation, raise him to be the next Pirate King. And I had figured that Whitebeard would die because we've established he's getting old and sick, and he would be there to save Ace. Ace would then originally had wanted either Whitebeard to become the Pirate King or would say Luffy's going to be the Pirate King, but after this interaction, I expected him to basically say, for the sake of Whitebeard and my love for him and what he wanted, I will become the Pirate King. I have the legacy. I have my crew. I'm sorry, Luffy, but for Whitebeard, I need to do this. This is my destiny. And I don't think there would be any hostility. It would be a rivalry, no conflict, no animosity. One of us will be the Pirate King, whether it be Luffy through whatever will and motivation and his dream versus a supposed destiny. And I figured the ending would be a climax between the two of them, and it would just be accepted. Whoever won, they would love each other and they would respect each other. And that is where I thought this story would go, because sweet, innocent little summer child that I was. Someone opens the gates of justice, which they said they were not going to do, letting in Luffy and his makeshift crew, which Buggy immediately takes credit for. I am absolutely loving what I will be going on to refer to just the cult of Buggy, with Buggy's new crew of like worshippers. And they go in to join the conflict to save Ace. And I just want to talk about how insanely powerful all these characters are. So Akiji, our lazy, lovely little admiral with ice powers, he was the strongest man probably I've seen for a while. And Whitebeard has the power to create earthquakes. And when he does this, he made a tsunami that was coming to crash down. And Akiji easily just freezes it all. And very impressive. What is Whitebeard's response? More or less, get out of my way, you little upstarter. Like, this admiral is so beneath him, he's barely worth his attention. How the hell strong is Whitebeard? And then we get Marco, his 1st Division commander, where Ace was the 2nd Division commander. And it said, like, his Logia fruit, devil fruit, was a mythical type. He can transform into, like, a fire phoenix thing. I didn't know that was an option. That was, like, whoever in the real world chose a unicorn as their national animal. Ireland, Scotland, something. Don't care. Not the point. I didn't know this was an option. And he is just incredible. And then we learn in Ace's backstory that he had been offered the position by the government of being a warlord. Like, Ace is more powerful than I initially thought. There are so many moments of setup. I'll probably get to them later. But, like, one of the characters shows up on Mihawk and challenges him to a sword fight. And Mihawk calls him by name, one of the Whitebeard's pirates. And the guy's just like, you know my name? And Mihawk's just like, only a fool wouldn't know your name. Like, that's how respected this swordsman is. In single lines, we establish so severely and effectively the strength we are up against. And I know that Luffy is not a match for the admirals. So the fact that Luffy, our protagonist, is so much weaker than all these players and knowing what he's getting into is insane. Then you have Aka Ino, Red Dog. I don't like that name. I'm just going to refer to him as Magma Bastard. I hate him. Whitebeard's just like, wouldn't your powers be more effective blowing up or lighting birthday candles? Like, he does not have the time for this. He's swatting admirals away like bugs half the time. And yes, they are on comparable strength levels, but Whitebeard's attitude does not really respect them. He knows how powerful he is. He is a monster, the most powerful man alive. cementing my absolute love for the Whitebeard pirates and just them as a family. You have Oris, yes, the giant junior, and he is desperate to save Ace. And I was more heartbroken with this moment than so many others. So he is charging through, and he is getting injured so badly, and Ace is in tears, begging him, turn around, don't die, don't do this. And Oris is just like telling Whitebeard, do not call me up, I need to save Ace. And so Whitebeard's just like, help him, keep the path open that he is clearing for us, let him charge through. And we get these flashbacks of Ace, who wants to make him a hat to protect him from the elements because he's so high up, so he's close to the sun, he's always getting rained on, he needs something to protect him. But his fire powers keep burning the hat he's working on. But eventually he finishes it and gives it to his friend. And you see these panels of him sitting in the rain and the other crew members being like, what are you doing out there? Just don't be out in the rain. And he's like, no, I have my hat, I'm protected. Ace made this for me. And okay, why the hell did I try to do this video without tissues? That's on me, that's my bad. So Oris is running through, and he makes it so close to Ace, like inches away from him, only to be struck down by doflamingo. Making my list. This entire arc is me making a hit list of people I need to see die. So doflamingo goes on this, and so many emotional things happen that he isn't even at the top. He cuts off Oris. Oris is like, I wish I could pronounce his name right, and is gloating. He's laughing. This is funny to him. And then the zombie guy, Moray, don't care, stabs him through the chest, and Oris falls. And he's bleeding, and he's down. He's not dead, but he dies in this arc, and it is absolutely traumatizing. I was so emotionally invested in him from those short panels of Ace making him that hat, that the fact that I don't have a 1,000-chapter manga of the Whitebeard Pirates is devastating to me, because I need more of their friendship. Ace is in tears. He is sobbing. All his life, he didn't know if he deserved to live because of the hatred people felt for his father. And I guess he was feeling that blame and the hatred that they felt for his father projected onto him. Like, why was I born? He even asked Garp, like, should I even be alive? And Garp essentially answers with, you're going to have to go on living to find that out. And seeing these people, his friends and family, his brothers, his father, coming to save him and love him, he cries and is just like, I just want to live right now. I want to go home with you. And it is absolutely terrible. Sakazune, or Magma Brat, as Whitebeard called him, is like attacking his own men who are trying to flee because apparently the cannon fodder, lower Navy Marines are expected to fight against these monsters and in the warlords, and they don't deserve to live if they try to run. I hate this man. If it's not very clear, he is number 1 on my hit list for obvious events that happen later in this arc. Right now, I'm just waiting for the emotional trauma to pass over me to decide if I hate this man more than Shao Tucker. And quite honestly, I might. The fleet admiral is saying, all right, we're in position to go into the final stages, and they're going to like cut off the news feed so the public doesn't know what happened. They don't need to know the details. They only need to know that Whitebeard and Ace were executed and that they were victorious. That's all that the public needs to know, and it really goes into what doflamingo had said earlier. I hate that man, but he had a very, very good speech, quote, about what is justice. Of course, justice will prevail because the winners are going to write it and show to the public what right was. I'll probably get into that more later, I'm sure, with themes. Then Garp comes up onto the podium, executioner stand, and sits with Ace. And it's just like, I've always been a good Navy man. I have no respect for pirates and piracy, but this is family. He doesn't know what to do. He's just not going to get involved. Small rant. Inaction is a choice. You are choosing not to help. That is a choice. So Garp, I want Garp to be on my list so bad, but as a commenter rightfully put out, I'm waiting for Captain's orders. However Luffy responds to Garp going in future arcs will decide how I feel about him. I will respect Luffy's decision, but for me, he stood by while all this was happening. He chose not to protect his grandson. I thought he was just putting himself in a good position to take advantage of the opportunity I was so hopeful for Garp. I thought he was just waiting for the right moment for when the opportunity presented itself. He'd be like, I'm there by your side. I have you. I'm going to be with you through all this conflict. And then when the time is right, I'm going to take you away. But no, he just sits there and he's staying out of it. And that choice better haunt him for the rest of his life, even if later on we'll get to it in a minute. So now it's time for Luffy to show up. And I didn't even realize until this moment that we have gone so many chapters without any of the main cast. This is just going to be Luffy, his makeshift crew, and the Whitebeard pirates and their allies against the Navy. And Luffy only just rejoins us. And the talent that Oda has to keep you invested in characters you're really just meeting for the first time is a testament to his strength as an author. So Luffy and them end up on top of the frozen tsunami that Whitebeard had created and Akiji had frozen. And they learn that they're planning... The Navy is planning on moving up the time of the execution, so he really needs to get down there. So they crash, they fall down, and just lands in the middle of the battle. And Luffy immediately endears himself to Whitebeard, but more or less Luffy is just like, don't tell me what to do, I'm here to save Ace. Crocodile's immediate response was to try to kill Whitebeard, which Luffy then blocked, and just... Luffy's heart and fighting spirit made Whitebeard at least acknowledge him. Now, we do get one of my least favorite tropes, and that is when the person in trouble wants to protect the person, another person, so to do that they want to hurt them, to shout at them, say, I don't love you, go away, you're not wanted here, and that's what Ace does. His only option to protect his little brother, to keep him from fighting in this war that he knows he's outmatched for, is to say, Luffy, what the hell are you doing here? Like, I don't want to be saved by my little brother. Get out. Just leave. You shouldn't be here. I don't want you here. And thankfully, Oda decides to play this the only acceptable way that there is to play this trope, and that is to have Luffy say, shut up. I don't care. You're my brother. I'm here to save you. And he's having none of it. He punches not admirals, but Navy men in the face. He's just like, I'm going to get to you. God love Monkey D. Luffy, this unstoppable force of nature, and God help anyone who gets in his way. Marco recognizes him as Ace's brother. Whitebeard has acknowledged him to be a competent fighter and respectable. So the Whitebeard pirates are very firmly on the protect Ace's brother, back him up where possible, but they're not fully invested in him right away, but they definitely become invested in protecting Ace's brother during this arc. We learn Iva has a history with Kuma. Again, I'm not pronouncing names right. And I'm convinced he was part of the Revolutionary Army with her and working under Dragon, and I'm going with he went undercover in the Navy for some reason to infiltrate them from within is kind of the vibe I'm getting. But he has been completely taken over. He's no longer human. He's just machine. Before at least he had his brain left, like his mind was still his, and that I'm assuming is why he sent Luffy away, rather than killing him and his crew. But now he is just monster attacking his allies, and Iva doesn't understand why that he's attacking them and why he's working for the military. I am going to work with the tinfoil hat theory that something about him has infiltrated, like this was all part of the plan. He knew they were going to turn him into a monster and probably replicate him and make more, which happens later, which lots of damage. I'm assuming there's something in either his blood or his mind or his soul or something that can be passed on through all these replications of him that eventually can be reverted and like be taken over by dragons. So Dragon will have this army that to use on the military, something like that. Like I gotta imagine this was some kind of plan of his working with Dragon. Either that or he was just like, you know what, the warlord title seems like a good gig, it's comfy, I'll do that, and he was just taken advantage of and was blackmailed or had no choice and was forced to go along with this. But I'm assuming he had some kind of thoughts in place because he knew this was going to happen to him, because back on the Bubble Island he had told Luffy like, this is the last time we're going to meet. He knew he was about to have his mind taken. You have Jinbei fighting Moria, I'm pronouncing names wrong, I'm sorry, the zombie guy, and he's having no issue. Like, here's some salt, zombies are gone. Then Mihawk, of all people, encounters Luffy, and Luffy knows he's outmatched. He knows he doesn't have the time, so he's just running. He uses Buggy as a human shield. He's doing anything to buy himself time. And this is when, let me get the name, Vista, one of Whitebeard's captains or commanders, had defended Luffy and stood sword to sword against Mihawk, the greatest swordsman in the world. And Mihawk knows his name, recognizes his skill, and just in that one interaction, I know that this man is serious and his strength. And Oda did not need to show me anything or do anything. Mihawk's acknowledgement of him as a fighter is all I needed. And then Mihawk makes a very good observation of Luffy just drawing people towards him. He doesn't need to fight. He has people protecting him and falling to his cause to push him forward. And that is a dangerous power to have. At one point in time, Luffy even expels the haki of the Supreme King in a moment of desperation. And everyone's just like, oh, this is who we are dealing with. This isn't just anybody. So the Navy are trying to cut the feed because they're bringing in the Kuma, Bartholomew, whatever they're called, robots, pacifists, I don't know what they're calling them, with the laser beams, and I guess they don't want the public to see them using these underhanded methods. But Buggy has hijacked one of the cameras and is kind of broadcasting himself, making himself seem more important than he actually is, which is just fantastic and hilarious. And I am loving the cult of Buggy. Anywho, this delays their next phase of the plan for a little bit longer. So Buggy actually bought them a little bit of time, but when that final camera goes off, they put up these big walls to isolate and trap everyone in so they could like start picking off all the pirates and enact their plan. Again, they didn't want the public to see them using underhanded methods. They wanted to kind of seem so all powerful that there's no hope. They didn't want the public, I guess, to know that they couldn't just beat them in a straight fight. And they had expected the Whitebeard pirates to charge in and be unorganized because they had purposefully leaked the information of moving up the execution time. But Whitebeard had saw through this and knew that there was some kind of ambush involved, so he split them up to protect his crew and all his allies. But Squard, I wish I could just call him Squidward, but Squared, this man had been convinced by, who is a member of the Whitebeard pirate crew, had been convinced by the admirals that Whitebeard had actually betrayed them and was sacrificing all of them to save Ace. And he believes it's because he was Gold Roger's son, and he hates Gold Rogers for massacring his crew. Side note, that is a very interesting line. So we know Gold Roger was not this happy-go-lucky version of Luffy who just wanted adventures and piracy, blah, blah, blah. He massacred people and killed people when necessary, most likely. We don't have the backstory of the conflict between these two, but he wasn't just some good guy. Do I want Roger to be the final villain of One Piece? Yes, I do. I'll get into that in my tinfoil hat theories. Squard, he stabs Whitebeard, his father, in the chest. this Whitebeard could have dodged it. He could have seen it coming. No one can touch Whitebeard. And this man just insignificant, weak attack to the chest. And he's saying, you betrayed me, you deserve this, how dare you betray your family for him. And Whitebeard, the wonderful father that he is, just sees two sons in conflict. After being stabbed in the chest, he takes his son and he hugs him and says, you're an idiot, why didn't you believe in me, but I still love you. Don't hold this hatred that you have against Roger against Ace. He is your brother. I would do this for any of you. I would bring an army down to save any of you. And then to cement that he means this, he gives everybody a chance to escape. He uses his earthquake power to smash through one of the walls and offer everyone an out. Like, you can run, you can save yourselves, but if you're fighting with me, if you're fighting to save Ace, then be prepared to risk your life. And Squard is so ashamed of himself. He's in tears. How could he betray his father? How easily was he manipulated? How could he attack him? And he's just crying while this fighting is going on, and Marco comes up, is like, are your tears going to fix this? Get up. Choose your side. Start fighting. And the war is just so emotional, but I don't think anyone runs. Their faith in Whitebeard is instantly restored. They're like, he would never betray us. He would not betray his family, his sons, his allies. We're with you, Whitebeard. So they go on fighting as well. Okay, it's after that, after Whitebeard had been stabbed, that the camera feeds get completely shut off, and that's when they put the walls up. But one of Oris, the giant, my love, he has fallen, he's down, and he's blocking one of the walls from coming up, and his blood is interfering with the gear, so there's still a path to Ace, and they charge through it. But Luffy knows that they're not going to get there in time, so he works with Jinbei and shoots a water piss up to the platform, and he lands right in front of the three admirals. He's armed with the mass of a ship that he's just swinging and tries to take them on. He's no match for three admirals. And Ace is about to be executed. Sengoku gives the order, our fleet admiral, he's just like, kill him. The only reason these two guards are not on my list is because I don't know their names. And then Crocodile, of all people, is just like, saves the day. The sand shoots them away, knocks them out, and I'm like, what the hell? And he's basically just saying, no, I'm not on Whitebeard's side, I'm not on anybody's side, but I'm not going to give the military the satisfaction of a win. And I'm sorry, Vivi, I'm sorry, Alabasta. I love you all so much, but Crocodile has redeemed himself to me so many times in this arc. All is forgiven. All is forgiven. I love Crocodile. I love his attitude. I have no idea what his plans are. I don't know if he's going to kill... Well, he wanted to kill Whitebeard. I don't know what his plans are after this arc. I don't care. He's forgiven from me. Just instantly forgiven. I was so consumed with my gratitude for Crocodile that I was shocked when he gets his head chopped off. And I'm so shocked that I forget he's made of sand and will be absolutely fine. But doflamingo, what... Pink coat feather man with the cool glasses shows up and they start fighting. Crocodile is fine, but they're off, and Luffy is attacked by, I think it was Kizaru or Kiji, one of the other admirals who is not Magma Jerk, and it's Marco who comes and saves him and protects him, and they start fighting, but, which one? Kizaru shoots Luffy with the lightning light blast and throws him back into Blackbeard, who catches him, and Kizaru is just like, you're too weak, your strength and will and determination isn't enough, you're not strong enough, there's no way for you to save Ace. Why are you here? Then he insults Whitebeard, saying, why were you so stupid to send this little kid in first? And Kizaru, I love your attitude. I love how you rode in on a cannonball. Cool, great, you're on my list. I want you to die. How dare you insult Luffy? And then Akiji, over here fighting. He's the only Marine Admiral that's not on my I super want you to die list. Mostly before my leftover thanks that he had with Robin and keeping her alive for so long. At the same time, no, he's on my list. Every Admiral is on my list. Marco comes and he almost gets to Ace, but he's knocked back by Garp. And even my sweet, innocent, thinking he's playing the part mind started to crack there. What the actual hell, Garp? What happens next? Whitebeard basically is like, you've done enough, kid. Tosses Luffy. He's like, get him to a medic. He's fought enough. He can't go any further. Go. Monkey D. Luffy. I'm going to save my brother D. Luffy is not having any of that. So he turns to Iva and is just like, I need more hormones. I need more adrenaline. Keep me going. And she's like, it's going to kill you. It'll probably kill you if you go anymore. And he's like, I don't care. I won't be able to live with myself if I don't do everything possible to save my brother. I don't care about the consequences. Just do it. So they give him more hormones. And he's up. And he's running. And he's going back for that execution stand because he's going to save his brother. Ace sees everyone around him. We get flashbacks of him again asking if it was worth him living. And he's just crying, saying he wants to live. And Garp doesn't break at this. Still holding that position of if anyone wants to get to Ace, it'll be over my dead body. I'm a Marine. I'm going to see this through. And my only response is, if you don't move out of the way, I will personally see that this happens. Like, I need Garp to die. Again, I'm waiting on Captain's orders, but I want him dead in this moment. And Whitebeard falls through many factors and 2 admirals attacking him. And he's saying, I know what my death will mean. He knows he's going to die. But he knows what his death will mean and the end of an era. And he plans to make an era that brings his sons into a better light, a better future. He's not going to leave this world in a worse place. So Sengoku's response is, the future of your sons? Let me show you the future of your sons. And he orders the execution of Ace again. So again, the swords are coming down. Crocodile's not there to save him. And Luffy, in desperation, screams and unleashes that haki and knocks down everyone. And everyone is shocked. And we know, they're like, Ace things like, Luffy, you too. So I don't know if Ace also has this haki. But I think like Boa and Shanks and is of the Supreme King. So Gold Roger probably. And I want to know if the Supreme haki is similar to the Will of D, or if they're unrelated. I know Boa's not a member of the Will of D, so I assume it's unrelated, but maybe because he has both, that's impressive. The same way Ace had 2 Will of D parents. Maybe there's like a Will of D side and a Supreme King haki side, and the fact that they're both fused into Luffy is a thing. I am emotionally traumatized. Whitebeard, he gives the order after recognizing the Supreme King haki, recognizes who Luffy is, and orders his pirates back Straw Hat up with everything you have. And Marco's just like, protect Ace's brother. Get him to him. And Luffy is running Gear 2, full speed. Iva and the Scissor One had created a path straight to Ace, and he's running. And Garp is the one who gets in the way. And Garp's just like, you're going to have to go through me. And Luffy is just like, I don't want to hit you. He's already punched through Koby, like, without hesitation. And he's like, Garp's just like, you're going to have to do what you got to do because, like, I'm here. I'm a Navy man. This is what it is. And at the last second, because we know Garp could take Luffy. That is not a question. But Luffy charges through, punches Garp, because at the last second, Garp hesitates. He flinches. He allows himself to be thrown off because at the end of the day, he did choose his family. But this inaction that he's had up to this point will not be forgiven from me. So Luffy is now up on there with Ace. He's so relieved. Boa had given him a key earlier. She's been back and forth fighting everybody, but mostly also protecting Luffy, taking on the army of Kuma, cyborgs blasting everywhere. She's finished them off. So he takes the key she gave him and goes to unlock him, but Kizaru shoots it and destroys it, and it's hopeless. And then Sengoku's a giant thing. So I'm like, what the hell is going to happen? And God love Mr. 3 comes to the rescue. He had been impersonating or hiding among the soldiers, so he stands up and is just like, I got you, Straw Hat. And Luffy's like, make a wax protection from him, and then he makes a new key, and they unlock Ace, and he's okay. And the reason Mr. 3 was here was because he had remembered Bon Clay and the sacrifice he had made to get Luffy this far to save his brother. And he's just like, would you laugh at me if I told you I was here to avenge a fallen comrade? And Luffy says, of course I wouldn't. And they're all safe, and Ace is free, and there's fire everywhere, and they're ready to take on the Marines, and everything is okay. We've got the cathartic moment. They're going to get away. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Everything is going to be fine. I was so hopeful. Akiji shows up and he's blasting ice, but Ace is holding off with his fire powers. He's going toe to toe with the Admiral. He's holding his own. Luffy and them are fighting back to back. Everything is good. Another ship of Whitebeard shows up and it's led by the squared guy, but Whitebeard stops it with like one hand and is just like scolding his son, like, you think this injury you gave me was anything? You think so little of me? It's time for my final order. I knew I was going to die. I knew the consequences of my actions. And now it's just time for, we have Ace, it's time for everyone to get out. So my final orders as your captain, as your father, is to flee, to run. Leave me here to finish this off. He intends to sink this island, the Marines, and take them all out single-handedly and buy the time for his sons to get away. And people are crying, they're begging Pops to go with them, but they're going to follow his orders. So they're retreating. They have Ace. They got what they came for. And Ace, devastated, stopped just long enough to drop to his knees, bow to his father, and thank him and be happy. And Whitebeard is just like, in this chaos, knowing he's going to die soon, his only question is, were you happy with me having me as your father? And Ace cryingly says, of course I was. And they go. And it should have been fine. It should have been fine. But Magma Brat, he shows up. And he starts baiting Ace. He starts insulting Whitebeard. And saying Whitebeard's a failure. He did not become Pirate King. He never beat Gold Rogers. So many of his sons died. He was so easy to manipulate one of his own children into stabbing him. He's pathetic. You're pathetic. Ace takes the bait. Ace should not have taken the bait, but of course, we pull on his character flaw of absolutely devotion to Whitebeard protecting his name and his honor, and he goes to fight the Magma Brat. This Admiral, oh my god, the reason he's number one on my list. So, Magma Brat, they attack, and Ace has the Logia type fruit for fire, so he shouldn't be able to be burned, but Magma can burn fire apparently, so he gets injured. And then Luffy goes to try to help Ace, but he stumbles and falls, and the VV life card falls out of his pocket, and as he's reaching for it, Magma Brat is coming and he's attacking Luffy. And Ace jumps in front of him and takes the hit right to the chest. After all of this, we see Ace die. He dies in front of his brother, in front of his crew, in front of Whitebeard, after all this build-up to save him, after everything they went through to get him back. He dies in an instant. Not an instant, but he's dying in front of all of his friends and family. And he's saying all his life he has been wondering if it was worth it that he was alive. And he thanks everybody for loving him. And he apologizes to Luffy for not allowing him to save him properly and for not being able to live long enough to see him become the Pirate King. But of course he will, because he believes in his dream. And his last words of thank you for loving me. And Whitebeard goes on he goes insane. He's destroying everything and everyone, and the Whitebeard pirates are just like, run, we have to go. Luffy is begging for the doctors to help Ace because he's still talking, but they're like, there's nothing that can be done. And Jinbei is protecting Luffy and has to like pull him away. Luffy screams. He's gone comatose. Like he's not there. He's checked out mentally. He's broken, rightfully so. But the battle is still raging around him, and the magma admiral is fighting, but Mirko and the sword guy is holding him off, and Mr. 3 came in, got Marco out of the sea prism handcuffs. It's a mess. Garp starts walking forward, but Sengoku guy, Fleet Admiral, grabs him and pins him to the ground, and is like, Garp, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And Garp's just like, hold me down. If you let me up, I am going to kill whatever magma buddy's name is. I will kill him. And why is he still looking out for the Navy? He should have just went for it. Whitebeard, in his rage, takes over the fight against Magma Brat, and he punches him in the side of the face with everything he's got, and he's batting him around like a bug. But the Magma guy power attack burns off Whitebeard's side of the face. This man does not have the right to look at Whitebeard, and he has the audacity to punch him in the face and burn half his face off. But it's still not enough. They're fighting. Somehow he gets away. I think he melts into the ground to escape because he knows Whitebeard's about to destroy him. Because even with half his face burned off, he's still dominating that fight. And then the Blackbeard pirates show up. And my actual god, the rage I felt towards Blackbeard in this moment. Not for anything he's done in the past, though rightfully so. I should feel the absolute rage because this is his fault as well. But he says in one of his opening lines to Whitebeard, I'm glad I made it here to see you die. Okay. Compose myself again. Blackbeard was a member of his crew. He did not betray Whitebeard through any internal hate. He betrayed him in doing so, killing a crewmate to get a devil fruit that he wanted, to get this power. And there shouldn't have been any hate towards Whitebeard. He was in his crew. He probably called him Pops. He probably was raised by this man. And he has the audacity to say, I'm glad I could be here to watch you die. That one line made me hate Blackbeard so much more. Whitebeard says, you're not my son, you're a monster. And we learned the truth of why Blackbeard wanted to become a warlord, and that was so he had access to Impel Down, so he could go to level 6 and get his true crew, become a formidable pirate. He has animosity and hatred for Whitebeard, apparently because he used to be so powerful, and now he's old and weak and sick and can't protect his crew. He couldn't stop Blackbeard from killing his crewmate. He couldn't save Ace. It's all his fault. He's weak, pathetic, should die. I hate Blackbeard. And then there's another fight, and Whitebeard splits the island, basically, with his crew on one side, Blackbeard and the Navy on the other. So it's like, get the hell out. I'm dealing with this. So Teach uses the black hole darkness power and cancels out Whitebeard's earthquake attacks. And he's like, ha ha ha, look at you. I'm so powerful now. And in one of my favorites moments so far, Whitebeard takes his sword sickle fight thing and just attacks with a physical weapon rather than his power. And it really reminds me in an episode of Supernatural. I don't know why this came into my mind when I was reading it, but there's a scene where one of the characters puts on these brass knuckles with Enochian symbols in it, which allows you to fight angels, like your punches actually hurt them. And the human character that they're fighting is just like, I'm not an angel, those aren't going to have any effect on me, those markings aren't going to work. And she beats him with it, and she's just like, brass knuckles are brass knuckles. And it's just like, do you think I need a devil fruit power to take you out? You think you're any competition to me? And Blackbeard's on the ropes. He's down. But then his crew come in and they're just shooting at Whitebeard repeatedly, over and over and over again. This man has been stabbed. He's been shot with cannons. He's been slashed. And now he's just taking bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet. And they keep firing until they're out of bullets. And still, Whitebeard is standing. And he's not done. He gives a speech about how, Teach, you are not the one Roger is waiting for. Referring, I assume, to the Willa D. We're going to get back on the one Roger is waiting for in a minute in my tinfoil hat theory. And he's saying you're pathetic, and the One Piece is real, and it's an emotional scene. I can't look it up right now. Whitebeard, the monster, the best father in the world, God love this man, dies standing. He's gone, and despite all these injuries, it is noted that he has not a single one of a coward on his back. He never retreated in all his years, in all the wars, and all the people he's fought. Not a mark of retreat on his back. And everyone is so upset that he has died. There are people all around the world celebrating, but they don't have the full story, so I'll forgive. I won't add them to my list. The Blackbeard pirates put a black cloth over Whitebeard, and I'm just like, what the actual hell are you planning? Blackbeard goes in, and when he comes out, he uses his devil fruit power, but he also takes a familiar stance that left me absolutely shook. So he uses Whitebeard's tremor, earthquake, tsunami creating power. And this shouldn't be possible. I swear that stance knocked me off guard more than almost anything else in this arc. I made this comment back on like Drum Island when it was revealed that Chopper could go further than the 3 animal transformations. And I thought it would have been more effective if you had set up the idea of the rule that there were only 3 transformations. So it would be more impressive when he could go to like 7 or 8, I think it's 7 that he had. Like it would have been more shocking. So the fact that we were so firmly established and you can only have 1 devil fruit power and 2 people can't have the same power, and then go to Blackbeard taking and stealing Whitebeard's power, so now he has 2. In my mind, the only person I know of with 2 devil fruit powers that I did not think that could be a possibility. That was just shocking. Marco makes a note that it might be because of Blackbeard's actual body. It's unusual, so I don't know if it's a combination of his own devil fruit allowing him to take it, or because of who he is, or a combination of the 2. I don't know. But I am petrified of this man now. So now we have a war on like 3 sides, because the Whitebeard pirates are so enraged, they're still attacking the Navy. Marco's sending them forward. The Navy's still attacking, and Blackbeard's attacking. It is a mess. And meanwhile, Jinbei, God love him so very much, my darling Jinbei, is trying to get Luffy to safety. He had promised Ace... No, he didn't promise Ace. He had told Ace that, hey, just because he's your brother, I'm not just going to protect him. We're in a world of pirates. I'm not going to protect him unless I value somebody. Like, I'm not looking to get myself killed protecting somebody. Meanwhile, this entire battle, he's taking on the admirals and magma bastard, and is just being like, I am willing to die for this cause. I will not help you hurt Luffy. I will die for this man. I will see him safe. He's trying to get to the water where he'll be more powerful in order to protect Luffy, but Akiji has frozen everything, so the magma guys coming after him, and he's trying to get away, and he turns and he takes a hit to the back which goes right through him and hits Luffy. And Jinbei's response to this is, I'm sorry I couldn't properly protect you. I'm sorry you got further hurt while you're in my care. But thankfully, Crocodile, God love him. Did I mention I completely forgive Crocodile for all past actions? I'm sorry, Vivi. I love you so very much, you and Alabasta, but I forgive Crocodile. I'm a hypocrite probably at some point in time. I won't forgive people for other instances, but right now I forgive him. He gets Luffy and Jinbei up in the air. It's just like, somebody catch him if we're protecting this. Like, let's do this right. So he's holding people off. They're up in the air. Whitebeard pirates try to catch him, but they actually hit Buggy, and so Buggy's like carrying them up in the air, and Buggy's just like, I'm trying to run. What the hell? And then, of all people, to show up, La, my darling La. I don't know. I did not know anything about this man other than some TikTok cosplays. I love this man. I don't care anything about this man, his past, his future. I do not care. Does he have an ulterior motive for showing up at this pristine moment and say, hey, come into this submarine that I have? I'm a doctor, the surgeon of death. I will help. Alternate motivations? Probably. Don't care. Get my baby out of here. All right. So I was not done being emotionally traumatized in this arc, because as they're trying to get away and they're not quite in safely in the sub yet, Koby, our lovely sweet boy Koby, shows up, and he's screaming at this Admiral Lava Magma buddy, this is a waste of life. Why are we still fighting? Our mission is accomplished. Whitebeard is dead. Ace is dead. Everyone who dies after this is a waste of life. All these Marines have families home. Just let this end. And he knows that Lava Buddy is going to kill him for saying this, but it needs to be said. And side note, because I forgot to mention it, a couple minutes ago when all the hell was happening, he was screaming, he was in pain, holding his head, saying, the voices are leaving me, I can't hear the voices. So I'm getting like flashbacks to Skypiea, where the little girl was like connected to everybody and could feel their anguish and pain and dying and death and what was happening. So something is going on there with Koby. Magma Brat is about to kill him when, of all people to show up, is Shanks, my darling love red-haired pirate. And he's like, thank you for those words, those few seconds bought us time. You probably rewrote history in buying me those few seconds, because now Luffy got away, he's safe, and how strong is Shanks, by the way? Because Kizaru, my darling light buddy, who I still despise, but he's cool, is about to like attack, and Benny, whoever he is with a gun that's on Shanks' team, just pulls a gun on this admiral very casually, and it's just like, don't you move a muscle. And at Shanks and the red-haired pirate's arrival, everything stops. He's just like, this war is over. If anyone wants to keep fighting, you can fight us. This man, Mihawk, my darling love Mihawk, takes one look, and it's just like, I agreed to fight Whitebeard, and in this war, I did not agree to fight Shanks. I'm leaving. This is over. He is turning everyone around and leaving at the mention of his name for just showing up. I get they're all very tired. They don't have the energy to fight now another Emperor of the Sea. And I'm just, where were you? Where the hell were you? Because if you had been here earlier, this might not have happened. We could have had a completely different outcome. Yes, he was fighting this guy, Kaido, whoever, another emperor of, not warlord, emperor of the sea. So that delayed him. And it's very impressive, apparently, that he made it here in time. Kaido, whoever the hell is on my list for delaying him, because I needed Shanks here sooner. Side note that I do not want to happen, but imagine if Shanks ended up being the ultimate villain and he purposefully did not show up in time. He purposely came late knowing Ace would die to put Luffy in a compromising position after sending him in this path, and now he's putting him down a darker timeline, making the anguish. I don't want that. I don't want it at all. I don't think it's going to happen. If it was, I feel I would have seen a lot more ominous music videos with Shanks on TikTok. Though I will say I'm very happy. Somehow TikTok has not spoiled really anything else for me, and this is wild, right? I'm wasting time. I'm sorry, but Shanks has showed up. Everything is at an end, and he says that him and his crew will deal with Whitebeard's body and Ace's body. He'll see to the burial. You've already publicized their death. I'm not going to have you make a mockery any further. And one of the, I think they say in the anime it was an admiral, not admiral, captain or vice admiral or something like that, little curly mustache. No, we need to display their heads as victory. I don't know your name. Someone in the comments tell me his name because he is on my list. But Fleet Admiral guy is just like your red-haired Shanks. I will accept your conditions. This war is over. And that is where this ends. And I have read a little bit into the I think I've almost finished the post and arc and a Marineford arc war, but I'm done. I'm done. This has been an excruciating wild ride. It was perfect. And as much as my soul is crushed, that is what I love in anime. Like, it hits you hard. So very hard. And Oda is a complete jerk, and all the power, all the love to him for what he accomplished in this arc. Alright, a little while ago when I said I wasn't going to be able to film this at the time that I thought I was going to be able to film it, I put up on the page just like, hey, if there's, I apologize, this is coming out late. If there's any questions or specific moments you want me to discuss, put them in the community tab here, and I'm just going to look at them now. I avoided most of them, just so I could more or less not have thought through them too much. Alright, please touch on Garp's moment about family. It's one of my favorite emotional scenes in the series. Also, Doflamingo's speech is a legendary moment that shifted my entire perspective of the series so far. 1000% agree. So Garp, in terms of his emotions with family, was a highlight of this. I am holding it against him because of it, but it makes him an extremely complex and well-written character, seeing his struggle between his loyalty to the Navy and then his love of family, and thinking he could just sit this out. But then when the time came, he chose family at the end, the very last moment, allowing Luffy to knock him off, allowing Luffy the opportunity to save Ace, and then even telling Sengoku, like, hold me down or I'm killing Magma Admiral because he just killed my grandson. That, his character's fantastic, but his inaction leading up to this and not firmly standing on Luffy's side, personally, I am never forgiving him for that. But again, I will respect Luffy's decision and follow whatever course he says. He's not officially on my list until Luffy refuses to forgive him. But it's Luffy. He's going to forgive him. And I just have to accept that, and I will follow that captain. Doflamingo's speech. I'm going to pull that exact one up. Kids who have never seen peace and kids who have never seen war have different values. Those who stand at the top determine what's right and what's wrong. This very place is neutral ground. Justice will prevail, you say, but of course it will. Whoever wins this war becomes justice. If that is the most eloquently worded speech in just like a page by the most unhinged character, I don't know what is. Oh my god, that like justice is, the history books are written by the winners. What's right and wrong is all in terms of perspective, and the full story will never really be known to the public of what happened here today. 100%. That was just the most incredible line, and I want to see more from this character, even though he's high on my list for what he did in this arc and how he laughed at them and the chaos and amusement he takes in people suffering. All right, there's one here talking about how every warlord or admiral and major characters have different views on why they're here and fighting in this war, and completely agree. You have Whitebeard's side who wants to save his family, people loyal to Whitebeard. You got people following Dragon's Kid. You got people just idea of absolute justice. But then you got ones questioning if they're in the right place, Koby's motivations, and yes, it's going to need its own kind of video to go into in detail all of that. But motivations in this arc were a huge player. Completely agree with that. Were you expecting Shanks and the red hair pirates at the end? I was a little bit surprised that they weren't here at the beginning, so seeing them come at the end was a shock because I kind of forgot that they were players in this. So thank God they came when they did. I'm a little upset they came late. I want to ask what you thought about Shanks coming here so fast. So yes, like coming in last minute, I'm mostly thinking it was the only way to end the arc without further bloodshed and to save Koby. But I am completely trusting that Oda has a reason for how he came to save the day at the last second. So I'm excited to see what led Shanks to get there. What do I think about Marco and the rest of Whitebeard's commanders? I am in love with all of them, and as I said, I would sell my soul for a Whitebeard or Whitebeard-centric pirates manga, 100%. Do you have any thoughts about Kizaru being able to say Ben Backman without touching his lips in the anime? Didn't watch the anime for that episode, I guess, or I missed that part of the anime. Pacing of the anime is still borderline unwatchable for me. It's really dragged out. Like, you got 4.5 minutes that I have to skip at the beginning that's all set up, and then the fights drag slow. I'm loving the manga so much more than the anime, so I'm really only jumping in for very specific sections of the anime. Do you feel like Garp did enough? No, I do not. Not even a little bit. His inaction was a choice I do not agree with, but it is understandable for his character. Were there any people who surprised you fight-wise? All of them, just everyone. Like I said, I especially loved how they set up people that we hadn't been introduced to by pairing them against characters we did know and having them recognized. So the fact that Mihawk recognized, I think it was the third commander, the swordsman, whose name starts with a V, but I haven't memorized his name yet. And how Whitebeard is so casually insulting calling a Kiji like an up-and-comer or blow out some birthday candles. The setup of these characters so efficiently to establish their power levels was incredible. Seeing everyone fight and using techniques that we had seen previously was incredible. Was not expecting Law at all. Did not expect this guy who just showed up a couple arcs ago to come save the day. I love him right now for saving my baby. MVP would be a combination of everyone. I absolutely loved how the Whitebeard pirates repeatedly were like, protect Ace's brother. This is how we honor Ace's legacy, is by protecting his brother. I loved Mr. 3. I loved that Bon Clay's memory and loyalty came in to save the day because it brought Mr. 3 in. Mr. 3 uncuffed Marco and allowed him to jump in to protect Luffy. And then Jinbei, 100% ride or die for Luffy now, keeping him alive to get there. Every single person had a huge role to play, and Luffy could not have gotten there without every single one of these people. And it was just perfect. All of them. This would have fallen apart if everyone wasn't there and giving it their all. Overall feelings of the arc, I am emotionally traumatized. Haven't finished the post-war arc yet. Almost finished. I think I got like two chapters left, if that. Oh, how do you feel this arc played with your expectations, especially being really different in tone compared to the other ones? Yeah, caught me extremely off guard. Yeah. So again, I thought at one point Whitebeard was going to die. Ace was going to honor Whitebeard's legacy and the faith that he had to pursue some kind of destiny. I thought Ace's new goal would be to become Pirates King, and then that would be the playoff. Him and Luffy would have a non-confrontational, non-angry, very respectable rivalry to become Pirate King, and that did not happen at all. I think part of my misleading of what was possible in One Piece came from, I remember someone complaining that they were a little annoyed that there were no like deaths in One Piece. It was all side characters in flashbacks and backgrounds kind of thing. So I had the same issue earlier on. It didn't feel like any of these characters were at risk of dying. And I had come to accept that in this world, it isn't the fear of death that is the biggest threat, it's the fear of failing to achieve your dreams. So I never really thought that narratively Ace was going to die because this is One Piece. The characters are safe. It is more traumatizing to break their hearts and souls and dreams. So for Ace to see Whitebeard die and then having to be put in conflict, again, I don't want them to be an actual conflict with his brother, to do he fulfill some kind of goal and respect and responsibility that he had towards Whitebeard to become the Pirate King now that he's gone, versus his love and loyalty and friendship and brotherly bond with Luffy. Like, I thought that's where we were going. I didn't even consider his death to be a possibility until Magma Bastard was insulting Whitebeard, and that I'm like, I knew that would trigger Ace. And it was in that moment that I'm like, Ace is gonna die. He's going to take the bait and he's going to die. Where is Jinbei? Where is someone to hold him back? And I guess side note, it's a good lesson for Luffy because Luffy is learning everything that he's learning and growing all the time. So now he knows, don't take the bait, because he had attacked Blackbeard in the past and was Jinbei who held him back, saying you don't have time to give in to his provocations. You don't have time to fight him. We have to go. You can't fight him. He's stronger than you. So he saw Ace die because he fell into that trap. And again, I didn't think it was a possibility for him to go. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting the tonal shift. I was not expecting Luffy to go into basically a coma from the emotional trauma and shock at all. Curious on your opinions of Mr. Three's actions. 100% loved Mr. Three's actions. One of the MVPs. I love that he came there. He respected because Bon Clay gave himself up to give Luffy this opportunity. Oh, so much respect for this man. And same thing with Crocodile. I know I'm probably being a hypocrite because I'm not going to forgive past actions of other characters, considering how I imagine they'll act in the future. But for me, Crocodile's forgiven. Love this man. He's going to make me regret saying that. I already know that. He's going to do something. I'm like, I hate you again. No, their decisions made so much sense for their character. Completely, I agree. I'd love to know your feelings on Whitebeard. This man I'm going to tattoo this man on my body. I got a tattoo, sure, link to video where I got a tattoo. One of my legs has Itachi in pain. The other leg is going to have Whitebeard, and I don't know who's going to go below him, but he is going across from Itachi. I love this man. If I had my tattoo appointments, like, while reading this arc, there's a good chance I'd say, hey, change of plans. Why don't I just get the Whitebeard cross anime edition, not original Japanese edition, tattooed on my back? That seems like a good idea. I'm not going to do that because eventually I will calm down from this. But in that moment, if someone had offered it, I would have taken it. I'd have Ace's tattoo of the Whitebeard pirates on my back. I would do it. I was so emotionally invested in Whitebeard, and I still am. I love him so much. I think he's my favorite character outside the original Straw Hat crew, and quite honestly, I might love him more than a lot of them characters. I don't know. I said what I said. What he stood for, the impact you think on family. He is just the best father. He didn't care about treasure. He didn't care about riches. He didn't care. I think he stopped caring about the idea of being the Pirate King. He's just like, my goal has always been to have my family. And even taking that moment when the squad guy was saying how much he hated Roger, and now you've brought me in to save Roger's son, and you're willing to sacrifice all of us. You wouldn't do that. Like, he takes a moment to hug his child, reconcile the anger he's feeling towards his brother, and just being like, I do this for all my children. You're my family. Don't hold hate towards your brother because of what Roger did and your hatred for him. Don't do that. Don't put the faults of the father on the son. I love Whitebeard so very much. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Whitebeard's finale and how that mirrored Roger's own. So Roger was also dying and gave up his life to inspire others. Like, I've left everything I've acquired at one piece. And the same thing with Whitebeard saying, the One Piece is real. The will of D will persist. Navy, you failed to get rid of Roger's bloodline. The will of D is still going. Like, a grander war will happen and take everyone down with it when the One Piece is found. 100% he's inspired. They're both inspiring others. Now seems like a good time to put in my tinfoil hat theory of what I would absolutely love. So I had said it'd be a gut punch if Shanks turned out to be the final villain. I don't want that. Not for a second do I want that. What I genuinely want, is for Roger to be the final villain. I'm going to stick with I want it that One Piece is a location that Roger was after but didn't actually find. So he set up a situation to inspire everyone to go looking for it, and then he would come in at the last moment to steal it from them. So I'm thinking he took his own soul and put it in a different body because his old body was dying, and it was a good enough reason for him to fake his death. And I don't want him to have put his soul in Shanks, but maybe, I don't want that, but maybe he had told Shanks that, about the Will of D, and then Shanks went out looking for Luffy specifically as the heir to the Will of D. Maybe he had originally went out looking for Ace as Roger's son and found Luffy as this is actually a better option. And he set Luffy up on this journey, on this quest, sacrifice his arm for the new era because he knows whatever's going to happen, Luffy's going to be instrumental in making it happen. So I like that kind of vibes. And again, yes, this is 100% based on and from the plot of Vampire Diaries, right up and including the Soul Switch. I also had the theory of reincarnations of an original crew. There was some parallels between a navigator, a historian, weather control, maybe. I don't know, I can't remember everyone's Will D on my list yet. But I kind of like the idea of them all being reincarnations from the original crew back from that 100-year missing time in history. And yes, that is from Yu-Gi-Oh! And the idea of reincarnations with them. And then we still have between the Will of D, so Roger's waiting for somebody. So I almost feel like Whitebeard should be aware that Roger's still alive and his kind of plan, but it's not. It's not that. I know that's not that. It's more of someone will take up my mantle, the same way someone's going to take up Ace's mantle, and it's not going to be Blackbeard. So a lot of tinfoil hat theories, want something cool to happen. Very excited. Completely trust Oda because it's going to be better than whatever the hell I just said. Sakazuki's form of justice, being absolute kind of thing. This man needs to die. There is no gray in this man's mind. It's black or white. You're on my side. You're innocent. You're guilty. I hate this man. He needs to die. We'll go into the different types of justice and morality in another video, I'm sure. I took a philosophy class in undergrad. I can talk about Kant and all the different types of the trolley problem. Yeah, sure. We can definitely go into that and what they view would be the just response to do to the trolley problem. Let's do that. That sounds like fun. Koby's pleas for mercy. God love this man. He is brutalized. He is in fear. There's so many powerful people around him. He knows saying this will result in him dying, but it's worth it. It needs to be said. God love Koby. Garp's turmoil. I've gotten into Garp a lot. Luffy and Jinbei, what do you still have? You can't think about what you've lost. You have to keep going. Telling Luffy not to give up. That's snapping him out of the depression. 100%. I made it that far in the. I think that's actually the post Marineford arc. We'll get into that one when I get into that final thing. Ace's final words. I'm going to send Oda a bill to my therapy. They thank you for loving me after being told all his life that Roger's kid is a menace. They should be killed if one exists, and questioning should he be alive, and found family is my trigger right there. That is what I love. If something has a family trope in it, I love it to death. And seeing him be so grateful and love his crew and his family, oh, it brought me to tears. Thank you for loving me was probably my favorite, most heartbreaking moment of the series so far. Feelings on inheriting the sins of the father. It's nice to see everyone's response to it of you shouldn't. So Garp not holding a grudge against Roger, acting against the military to protect Ace, even as a child. And then same thing with Whitebeard telling Squard, whatever the hell his name is, don't hold Roger's actions against your brother Ace. No. was such a big reveal when we found out that Ace's dad was Roger and not Dragon. Huge reveal. I did not see that coming at all. Again, I was suspicious of his lineage and relationship with Luffy. Did not see that coming, even a little bit. Mihawk's comment about Luffy's power to draw everyone towards him, 100%. That's something that's going to come into part. Like he's not a nothing character in relationships to the world. He comes from a good lineage and everything, but he doesn't have the name and the power that everyone else here in this conflict has. So seeing everyone drawn to him and respect him and recognize him as competent, the potential he has, and just their willingness to protect him, that is incredible. It's a powerful and dangerous threat to the military. There's a quote that I seen actually concerning Naruto, that I feel I don't even know if it was from Naruto, I can't remember, but I feel it also applies to Luffy as well. And the way he forges ahead, draws others towards him, he makes you want to reach out when he's about to stumble. And that's kind of the same vibe I get from Luffy as well. He's pushing forward, he's unstoppable, he's a force of nature, and he gains the respect so easily from everyone around him. They're like, he has put in so much work, he's gone so far, I can't see him fail. I will protect him, I will fight with him, I will defend him. Protect Straw Hat Luffy, protect Dragon's son, protect Ace's brother. Back him up with everything you have. 100%. I love seeing everyone just be drawn to Luffy. What do you think of Shanks' timely arrival? Did it affect the way you perceived his character? I'm suspicious. I'm happy that he's able to turn everyone around at a mention of his name. I'm suspicious on how he got here after fighting another emperor. I'm suspicious of what happened to get him here. I wanted him here sooner, and I do love him. But I trust no one at this point. What are your thoughts and feelings of doflamingo as a character? Personally, he's on my list. I want him to see him die painfully for what he did to Ora's Junior Giant's love of my life. Chopped off his leg and celebrating, but at the same time, he seems to be like a narcissistic, crazy, in for the vibes and craziness and chaos and whatever is a good time and fun and entertaining for him. So that's a fun character to see, all the craziness he inflicts upon others. So fun entertainment, I still want to see him die. And again, he did have probably one of the best quotes with that justice is from the winners moments. I want to see more of him. Do you think this arc would have been different if the whole crew was there, or would they have been overpowered just like they all would have been overpowered? And I don't feel they would have been able to drop. They probably would. They would probably amass a smaller crew to protect them, but I almost feel like they would be in the way. I would have loved to see Zoro take on Mihawk again, but they're no match for any of them. And I don't know if everyone would have been drawn to protect them the way they were drawn to protect Luffy. So it's almost a good thing that he was there alone, because God forbid he had to choose. Oh my God. What if he had to choose between getting to Ace or saving, say, Nami or Robin or Zoro? What if he had to make that split-second decision of, do I continue racing forward or do I save my crew? Do I save my family or do I save my crew? Oh my God, I wish one of them was there. That is a moment I missed out on. Oh my God, Oda would have destroyed me. Oda would have destroyed me. And it would parallel so well with Garp and his loyalty to the Marines versus loyalty to family. I wish one member of the crew was there. Take your pick if you could have one member of the crew to be there and they were in danger and Luffy had to choose between rushing to their aid or rushing to save Ace. Would he do it for anyone? Oh, I want that. Oh, my heart hurts. My heart hurts. One of my favorite sass moments to me when Ace thanks the people for loving him. Makes me cry all the time. 100%. What do you think of Shanks and his crew after casually stopping the war after just appearing? Yeah, no, I liked, because again, I like how this sets up how powerful everyone is. I like how, most likely it's because everyone was so exhausted they didn't have the energy. They knew they couldn't continue fighting Shanks and his crew, that they haven't been full on fighting, even though they did just fight most likely the other emperor. But I liked how they could just roll in and mention of their name, just showing up, hold a gun to the admiral's head and be like, don't you move. This is over. We're here now. We're done. Everything's done. I liked it, but I'm still very suspicious. You made theories about future plot and possible deaths before. I did not think Ace was... I honestly did not think Ace was even on the list. I said this already. I did not think Ace was a possibility to die. I maybe Garp at this point, but I don't think so now. I don't know what's going to happen with Garp. I did not see Ace's death coming at all. Not even a little bit. I was wrong. So very wrong. Blackbeard being the polar opposite to Luffy. Completely agree with that. I need to do a parallel kind of video against characters. Wait, what? No. I missed this. Okay, Magma Brat is the one who gave the orders to destroy the civilian ships at O'Hara, Robin's Island. I missed that completely. Oh my god. Hate him more than Shao Tucker right now. Is there anything else to the statement? No, just what do you think of them? I hate this man so much more at this particular second than I did reading that arc, and I already hate him. I'm just accumulating on top of my hatred for that arc. He needs to die the most painful death in anime. Kuma, I'm interested to see his history of how he got into the Marines and the history with the Revolution, because there's something connecting the two. I'm assuming he was on the team with Dragon, infiltration. We talked about that. Love Marco, love his powers, want to see more from him, want to see him like maybe taking up a captain position now that Whitebeard's gone. All right, that is, I skimmed through most of them, and I think I hit most of the points during the review process here. I'm in love. This is my favorite manga that I have read, without question. The setup and payoffs and twist and heartbreak moments, 100%. There are still maybe 2 moments in Naruto that hit me harder. I appreciate Death Note for its fast-paced, condensed, effective storytelling in its shorts, get out, tell the story. I appreciate all that, but my god, One Piece, yes, has blown, I think almost, not just everything, the water in terms of its storytelling so far. I wish I loved the anime. The pacing for the anime just is not for me, but this manga is incredible. I will be watching the One Piece movies. I know there's a time jump eventually coming up, so I think once I hit that, I'll take a break to watch the One Piece movies, because I'm definitely too far behind in those. I'm sure I can find a list of which ones are safe to watch. I know I'm not safe to watch the red one yet. So that's all I got. I have gone through a bunch of tissues, and I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you later.